It was 11 p.m. on a Friday night, and I was off to join a covert operation with one of the most extremist animal rights organisations in the world, Animal Liberation Victoria. We would be infiltrating a free-range egg farm to document the conditions inside the shed and smuggle the sickest animals out to be given medical attention. This type of operation is known as open animal rescue, and the group's founder, Paddy Mark, developed a method in the early 90s. Their office was a slightly dilapidated house in South Melbourne and filled to the brim with vegan products and advertisements. The shelves were absolutely packed with vegan food, which was for their online store, but also kind of gave the impression that they were holding out for some sort of post-apocalyptic vegan lifestyle. Paddy began explaining some of their past long-term operations, including one free-range pig farming investigation that uncovered some pretty disturbing facts.
The system is they kill the pigs when they're about 5 months old, and they put 3 with electric prods into these things called a gondola. If you imagine a big Ferris wheel, so the pigs, they electric prod 3 into one gondola, and then it comes down into this what's called a gas chamber, and as it descends into the gas chamber, it's the CO2. And it's a horribly distressing. The pigs just struggle and go crazy and thrash around.
The graphic description of pig slaughter combined with the anxiety of getting the shit kicked out of me by police if we were caught was starting to make me pretty nervous. Paddy walked us through the plans for the night. I was surprised at how militant and organised the group were. Paddy even went to the trouble of telling me which patch of trees to leg it to if the cops came.
If you have to do a sprint, there's trees over here, I'd hide over here.
Thank you, that's very reassuring.
Just stay with these guys.
I piled into the van with 2 members of the team for the 45-minute drive out to the property. The whole experience was seriously beginning to rack my nerves, and I contemplated just bailing on the idea more than once.
Do I look like Blair Witch Project right now?
We had to clamber through a ridiculously narrow chute to get onto the warehouse floor, which sucked pretty intensely for somebody with some hardcore claustrophobia. The smell once we entered the shed was overwhelming. There was an incomprehensible amount of chicken shit in the manure pit beneath our feet, and the place was packed with thousands of hens that looked as though they'd messed with the wrong end of a lawnmower. The place was littered with corpses, and the food and water system seemed to be pretty ineffective in some places. Some of the chickens were obviously really sick. All of the hens were missing feathers because the chickens were pecking at one another. This is a natural process to assert social hierarchies, but the chaos of the shed made them unnaturally aggressive. The Animal Lib team spread themselves across the shed floor to document the corpses and sick animals. They picked up the sickest individuals and placed them in pillowcases so they could get veterinary care. We came across emaciated hens that were clearly on death's door, as well as one that was gasping for air like a stage 4 lung cancer patient. It really was total mayhem. There were hens pecking at the scraps of their own eggs, hens with prolapses, and others were drowning beneath our feet in an ocean of their own shit. I've seen television ads for free-range chickens and never once expected that the industry could lie to us in such a blatant way. It seemed to me that everybody who eats animal products has to accept a certain burden of responsibility for the totally shitty lives of these animals. The demand for ethical treatment of livestock has increased dramatically in Australia in recent years, but it seems that wherever large-scale animal industries exist, ethical treatment is simply not an option. At the end of the day, the choice is yours, but the evidence is hard to ignore.